Long before mankind was given dominion over the earth, and long after the jinn had completed tens of thousands of years upon it, a strange and forgotten chapter of creation quietly unfolded. The jinn had already lived nearly 50,000 years, ruling the lands, the skies, and even the depths of the seas. But their era of authority was coming to an end. Whispers had begun to spread through the unseen realms that a new creation, humankind, was destined to inherit the sovereignty of earth and heaven. Although the jinn still existed everywhere, their importance had faded. Their forefather, Azazel, later known as Iblis, had already been cast out for refusing to accept this divine decision. When he rejected the command to bow before the new creation, he was expelled from the heavens, yet granted permission to mislead humanity until the end of time. With his fall, the jinn were stripped of their rule. They remained free beings scattered across land, air, and ocean, but no longer kings. Iblis now waited patiently for Adam alayhi salam to be granted authority and for the human race to multiply. Only then would his mission of deception truly begin. It was during this mysterious transition that an entirely different creation emerged, one rarely spoken of and never clearly recorded. This was not humanity, nor were they ordinary jinn. They were, in fact, a faction born from the jinn themselves, beings who deliberately abandoned their original form and permanently reshaped themselves into animals. Ancient traditions describe the jinn as 5 distinct types, capable of transforming into dogs, donkeys, snakes, lizards, insects, and even mighty beasts such as lions, elephants, and apes. This particular group separated from the rest. They chose physical existence over invisibility, adopting animal forms and settling across different regions of the earth. Though their bodies resembled animals, their essence remained purely jinn, fully conscious, intelligent, and self-aware. Unlike real animals who act on instinct alone, these beings possessed reason, planning, memory, and ambition. Their intelligence and power far surpassed anything known today. Using extraordinary strength, advanced knowledge, and mastery over nature, they constructed colossal structures across the earth, monuments so precise and enduring that modern humanity still struggles to explain them. Today we call them pyramids. Inside these massive structures, strange carvings remain etched into stone. Figures of hybrid creatures, animals with unnatural forms, symbols that seem to defy logic. These were not decorations, they were records. This third creation possessed abilities beyond the 5 senses. Alongside sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, they relied on a 6th sense, an inner perception often described as a hidden eye. Through it, they communicated silently across vast distances, understanding one another without words. Their awareness extended far beyond physical limitations, making them unmatched in knowledge, strategy, and control. They were no longer merely jinn, yet not animals either. They had become something else entirely. A third creation lost to time, hidden beneath stone, myth, and fear. What truly set this third creation apart from every other being was a mysterious power concentrated in a single point within their bodies, an ability later symbolized as the third eye. This was not a metaphor. It was a real functional center of perception located deep within the brain, precisely behind the forehead, aligned between the brows and the upper tips of the ears. In modern terms, it is known as the pineal gland, a tiny seed-sized organ shaped uncannily like a human eye. Today, science acknowledges only one of its basic functions, the regulation of sleep through the hormone melatonin. But in that ancient age, this gland was far more than a biological regulator. It was their greatest weapon. Through it, they practiced a form of communication now dismissed as fantasy, telepathy. They could transmit thoughts, images, and intentions across thousands of miles instantly and silently. A single glance at another being's forehead was enough to exchange complex ideas without uttering a word. This eye was not merely a tool, it became a symbol of power, dominance, and divine authority. It was later mythologized as the Eye of Horus, a symbol still found carved repeatedly inside pyramids and ancient ruins. Strikingly, these carvings matched the exact anatomical shape of the pineal gland, down to its internal structures. This alone suggests that the builders of these monuments possessed knowledge of the human brain, that modern science only began uncovering in recent centuries. When Adam alayhi salam descended to earth and humanity began to spread, this third creation grew fearful. They understood that humans were designed differently, spiritually inclined toward worship, instinctively drawn to submit to the strongest perceived authority. Egypt, which served as the central stronghold of this third creation, became their final refuge. They retreated deep beneath the pyramids, hiding within underground chambers and vast inner networks unknown to humans. From these depths, they observed mankind closely. Using their hidden senses, they studied human psychology and discovered a critical truth. Humans were naturally inclined to worship power. This realization led to a dangerous decision. Rather than remain hidden, they would present themselves as gods. One ordinary day, as early humans labored near their homes by the pyramids, a voice echoed from within a massive stone statue. The voice called individuals by name, names no one else could possibly know. It spoke of personal struggles, private fears, and hidden desires. Terrified and astonished, people gathered around, convinced they were witnessing the voice of a divine being. The entity declared itself their creator and demanded worship. Already vulnerable to deception through Iblis's influence, humanity submitted almost instantly. Gradually, these beings revealed themselves, not fully, but enough to reinforce belief. They claimed all humans were descendants of a supreme god, and that obedience ensured protection and prosperity. Thus began the worship of the one-eyed deity, the third eye elevated from ability to idol. Over time, the line between myth and blood blurred. These beings formed physical relationships with human women, and from these unions emerged a hybrid race, later remembered as the Anunnaki. These offspring appeared human but inherited immense strength, heightened intelligence, and an active third eye. They could influence minds, communicate silently, and rule effortlessly. From this lineage arose the pharaohs, kings who were not merely rulers but living gods in the eyes of their people. This legacy did not fade with time. It evolved, adapted, and hid itself beneath symbols, rituals, and secret knowledge, waiting patiently just as Iblis once did. Centuries passed, and the world entered an age where prophets began to rise openly among humanity. Divine guidance returned to the earth, and with it came confrontation. The era of unchecked deception could not last forever. When Prophet Solomon alayhis salam was granted kingship, his rule was unlike any before it. He was given authority not only over mankind but over the jinn as well. Every tribe, every faction, every hidden race was commanded to present itself before his court. Ancient narrations describe that the jinn at that time were divided into hundreds of distinct groups, nearly 450 by some accounts. Among them stood beings no one could easily categorize. Some appeared as horses, others as terrifying beasts, some with faces of predators and bodies of something else entirely. These were the remnants of the third creation, the ones who had once abandoned their original form. When Solomon alayhis salam questioned them about their monstrous appearances, they admitted the truth. They had lived for generations in animal forms, reproducing within those shapes until their offspring emerged as hybrids, faces and bodies mismatched, yet minds sharp and alert. They were no longer pure jinn, but not animals either. They were something altered, something corrupted by choice. Solomon's reign marked the end of their open dominance. Many were bound, many forced into labor, and many driven deeper into secrecy. Their age of ruling through fear and false divinity was over. Yet their bloodlines did not vanish. They had already mixed too deeply with humanity. When the Great Flood came during the time of Prophet Noah alayhis salam, humanity was almost entirely wiped out. But just as the jinn survived untouched, so did these beings. The flood was meant to cleanse human corruption, not the unseen realms. Hidden deep beneath the earth, shielded by their knowledge and power, remnants of this lineage endured. Generations later, their descendants walked openly among humans once more, now fully human in appearance, yet carrying something ancient within. These were the Anunnaki bloodlines, later remembered through royal dynasties. They were the ones who manipulated systems, ruled through symbols, and preserved forbidden knowledge. They became priest-kings, sorcerers, and rulers whose authority came not from God, but from inheritance. When Prophet Joseph alayhis salam rose to power in Egypt, the political structure shifted, but the old bloodlines remained embedded within the elite. After his death, when his people were reduced to slavery, Egypt returned to the grip of these ancient beliefs. By the time of Prophet Moses alayhis salam, many among the Israelites had unknowingly absorbed elements of Egyptian occultism. Secretly, some adopted the worship of the one-eyed deity, mastering forbidden arts later known as Kabbalah. This betrayal ran deep. These corrupted factions became responsible for rejecting prophets, distorting scripture, and plotting against divine truth. Even after Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, they were scattered across the world but never destroyed. They adapted. They hid behind nations, economies, symbols, and power structures. People often ask how ancient Egyptian symbols appear in modern times, why pyramids remain revered, why the all-seeing eye still stares back from currency and monuments. The answer is unsettling. Bloodlines survive longer than empires. This is not coincidence, it is continuation. As centuries rolled forward, civilizations rose and collapsed, but the ancient bloodlines never truly disappeared. They simply learned a more effective strategy: visibility without recognition. No longer ruling openly as gods or kings, they embedded themselves into systems of influence, finance, governance, secret societies, and ideology. Power no longer needed a throne, it needed control. This is where the symbols return. The pyramid, unfinished at the top, appears once again, not carved into stone but printed on paper. The United States dollar bears the image of the Egyptian pyramid, crowned with the all-seeing eye. Officially, it is explained away as a symbol of divine providence or enlightenment. But symbols do not survive thousands of years by accident. Symbols are signatures. The Eye of Horus, the same third eye worshipped in ancient Egypt, still watches. It appears in architecture, logos, films, rituals, and hand signs used by elites across the world. To the unaware, these are coincidences or artistic expressions. To those who understand lineage and legacy, they are declarations of continuity. The builders of the old world never vanished, they evolved. Many ask how ancient Egyptian beliefs traveled across continents to appear at the heart of modern superpowers. The answer lies in migration after migration, exile after exile. When corrupted factions were scattered after the time of Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, they carried more than possessions. They carried knowledge, rituals, and blood memory. Over generations, this knowledge was passed quietly, guarded fiercely, revealed only to those proven loyal to the old path. Secret orders formed. Names changed, faces changed, but the inner doctrine remained the same. Power belongs to the enlightened few, and the masses exist to be guided, manipulated, or sacrificed. The third eye was no longer activated through ancient means, but symbolized instead, because symbols alone were enough to command belief. Even in modern times, strange architectural choices emerge. Islands shaped like the pineal gland, buildings aligned to celestial points, statues positioned to mimic ancient rituals. Celebrities unknowingly or knowingly repeat the same gestures. One eye covered, one eye revealed. To most, it is fashion. To others, it is allegiance. Science, too, approaches the pineal gland cautiously. While officially reduced to a sleep regulator, its mysteries remain unresolved. Why does it calcify so early in life? Why is it sensitive to light? Why has every ancient civilization placed spiritual importance on the exact same point in the human head? These are questions rarely asked publicly, but deeply discussed privately. The greatest deception was not convincing humanity that these beings were gods. It was convincing humanity that they never existed at all. Myths were labeled fiction. Legends were dismissed. Those who spoke too clearly were mocked, silenced, or erased. Truth does not need to be destroyed, only ridiculed. And so the world continues, unaware that the same intelligence which once spoke from statues now whispers through media, currency, and ideology. The throne has changed shape, but the rulers remain. This story has no dramatic ending because it is not over. It is still unfolding. What makes this story truly unsettling is not the existence of ancient beings, hidden bloodlines, or forbidden knowledge. It is the role of humanity within it all. Humans were never the weakest creation. In fact, they were designed with something far more dangerous than raw power: choice. Unlike the jinn, unlike the altered beings of the third creation, humans were given free will balanced with divine guidance. That balance is precisely what both Iblis and the ancient bloodlines fear the most. The third eye, the pineal gland, still exists within every human being today. It has not vanished. It has not been removed. It has merely been silenced. Over time, through fear, distraction, material obsession, and spiritual neglect, its deeper potential was buried beneath layers of noise. Humanity was not prevented from awakening, it was kept busy. Ancient civilizations understood something modern society has forgotten. Perception shapes reality. Those who control belief control behavior, and those who control behavior control the world. This is why symbols matter more than armies and narratives matter more than weapons. The unfinished pyramid does not represent incompletion. It represents a system still under construction, a world order still being shaped. Yet despite everything, this system has a flaw. It always has. It depends on ignorance. The moment people begin to question symbols instead of worshiping them, the spell weakens. The moment humans seek truth instead of power, the influence fades. This is why prophets were never silenced completely. Their messages survived, distorted, challenged, attacked, but never erased. The third creation sought dominion through deception. Their descendants refined it through systems, but neither could override divine law. Every rise they achieved carried the seed of collapse. Every empire they influenced eventually turned against itself. History is filled with fallen eternal powers for a reason. The real battle was never about the third eye as a physical organ. It was about awareness, about seeing reality as it is, not as it is presented. True sight does not come from a gland alone. It comes from alignment between mind, heart, and purpose. That is something no hidden bloodline can inherit and no ancient symbol can guarantee. This is why humanity still matters. This is why the story is not finished. The same species once fooled by voices in statues now stands at a crossroads. More informed than ever, yet more distracted than ever. Technology connects minds, but wisdom still separates truth from illusion. In the end, the question is simple yet terrifying. Will humans continue to worship power disguised as authority? Or will they recognize that the greatest deception was convincing them they were insignificant? The third creation is history. The bloodlines are legacy. But the future belongs to those who can see, without being told what to see. And that is the real awakening.